If you want your music to sound a little bit more realistic, more emotional, you have to work with tempo as well. The idea of just setting to tempo and then forgetting it is not cutting it. Hi there, this is Sam. Really nice to see you here. And if you're new here, why not subscribe and hit that bell button as well if you want to see more videos like the one I'm doing today. Well, with the corona hair growing, let's talk about tempo today. Tempo might seem like such a simple concept. You just set the right BPM and then you go, right? Well, I would say that only really works for most pop productions. And even in pop, I find it's getting a little bit boring. You know, it didn't used to be that way, that everything just had the same pulse, exactly like a robot all the time. Anyway, in orchestral music or acoustic sounding music, classical music, you can't just have the tempo track be the same all the time. Not if you want to go for more realism or more emotion and more emphasis. So let's look at an example and then I'll talk some more about it. So here I have a string section, a string quartet. It's part of a bigger piece, but I just wanted to show you what you can do with the tempo track. Let's listen to this little thing first. Now, in the context, this works quite well because it's a rhythmical piece, so I needed these players to be quite tight. But in real life, it doesn't work that way. Orchestras and string quartets, they play a lot more with the rhythm. They do more of a rubato feel, like they push and pull the rhythm up and down. So let's listen to this track with the metronome. Now this works, but as you can hear, it's quite tight to the grid. Now I want to say that this instrument here by Cinematic Studio Solo Strings, it's quite an advanced instrument in terms of dynamic layers and legatos. So that means it's not so easy to play live. You can do it, but it does require a little bit of work afterwards. So I'm saying that because I wanted to show you that I have, in this case, worked this track quite well to the grid. Now, if you look at it closely, it looks like I haven't. But in order for this library to sound good, I have pushed all the notes a little bit to the left in order for the legato to sound good. But this is still fitting the metronome very well. And I've done that in order to get this section well together. And if I wanted to make this feel a bit more realistic and not so rhythmically tight like a pop song, then what I could do, if everything is tight to the grid, is that I mess with a tempo track. So let's go in here. This is a tempo track in Cubase. I'm sure it looks pretty much the same in other DAWs. And you can see here, all the tempo is exactly the same. So why don't we just paint the tempo track just the same way as I would do with dynamics and see what happens. You know, we can just have fun. We just go a little crazy. We drop here and then maybe go down here. And actually, I should listen to the piece, but just for fun, we're just going a little bit up and down and see what that sounds like. That wasn't the best, but did you notice anyway that it worked? It kind of worked. It wasn't that obvious. If you didn't know that I have messed with this tempo track, you probably wouldn't have guessed it. Because what it did is that it emphasized certain parts. By speeding up or slowing down, it felt like the instruments or the musicians were emphasizing that moment. Let's be a little bit more subtle. Let's see what we can do here. So let's go down a little bit. And then let's go down here. Okay, let's try that. Yeah, there are no rules here actually. I say just try and see what works. And again, I really want to point this out. Even though this is really changing tempo all the time, it kind of feels like there's a steady rhythm anyway. So I hope you can see that even though this can be quite subtle, you might not even notice that there's a tempo change. You might feel that there's a tempo change, or you might get the emotion by the music. There is an emphasis somewhere. It's slowing down a little bit. So see tempo not just as a robotic fast beat, but actually a way of creating emphasis in the music. You know what? I did say before that in pop music it's usually the same tempo, and that is today quite true. But I remember this song that isn't my favorite, but a lot of people liked it. It's called Despacito. They actually used that trick once to emphasize, and it was very, very effectful. So don't forget, Despacito is beside the point really, but if they can do it, so can you. So why don't try to work in the tempo track? And if you already created the song, you can just play with the tempo track just as you would paint in the dynamics in the song. If you enjoyed this, why not hit that like button and perhaps write a comment and hit that subscribe button and the bell button as well, and you will get more videos like this very soon. Thanks for today. This is Sam signing out. Take care.